Thank you for joining me today so we can talk about Likarda. I'm Lisa Stehno-Bittel and I'm the CEO of the company, and I will be making some forward-looking statements, and here's our wording about that. Likarda works in the field of cell therapies, and this is an amazing area with great potential. The potential to cure diseases rather than just treat the symptoms or hide the symptoms. But it's a new field. And like any new field, there are challenges. In this case, one of the biggest challenges is how to deliver the cells. Just like a drug needs to be packaged, you don't just take a powder of ibuprofen and try and swallow it. It's packaged with inactive ingredients in a capsule or a tablet so that it works better. Cells need that same thing. They need a delivery system so that they go to the target site and stay there, that they are protected from the immune system, and that they can optimize the function of the cells. One way to deliver cells is with microencapsulation. Microencapsulation, like the picture shows, is where we trap the cells inside a microscopic bead of hydrogel. And the diffusion characteristics are such that nutrients and oxygen can get into the cells, but large molecules like antibodies or immune cells can't get in, so that the cells are protected from the immune system. They're also sticky. These hydrogel beads are sticky, so when they're placed in a specific site, they stay there. And our hydrogels allow the cells to be protected in freeze thawing, which allows us to ship these products frozen and be stored at the end site frozen. Cell therapies, as I said, are an emerging market, rather small now, but with huge numbers looking ahead. There are thousands of different clinical trials going on right now with cell therapies. Likarda has a large library of hydrogels to use as a delivery system for the cells. Our hydrogels can be customized so that they work best for each cell type. And we already have multiple companies that have partnered with us they have the stem cells, but they need our delivery system. So Likarda is a contract development and manufacturing company, Cdmo. This industry has always had very expected or repeatable growth. But with the addition of cell therapies, the growth projections are much greater. Just like drugs, most cell therapy companies are outsourcing their manufacturing. And the great thing about this model is that even if the cell therapy doesn't make it to market, we're still manufacturing the material for clinical trials, and that can take 5 to 7 years. So we have solid revenue outlooks and high acquisition potential, which I'll talk about a little later. We're not the only company to do encapsulation, microencapsulation for cells. There are competitors. Most of them work with alginate. And they work with alginate as the hydrogel because it's easy to manufacture and it's cheap. The problem is it comes from brown seaweed, so that's not native to the body. As soon as it enters the body, you start an inflammatory reaction that eventually chokes off the cells, causing cell death. And that's what we have in the upper picture here. We have 2 microbeads that were placed in the body and 6 weeks later retrieved. And you see the purple and pink, those are all cells that have surrounded the beads and basically choked them off. That's why clinical trials using alginate to this date have all failed. The picture below is our encapsulant. We use materials that the FDA has already approved to be injected. Materials used for wound healing, as cosmetic fillers, or even as joint lubricants. And you can see that the body doesn't react to it. We call it stealth because it's like it's not even there. We have a lot of control over the manufacturing of these microbeads. We can control the size, how many cells we load per bead, and the diffusion characteristics of each bead. Again, these are injectable and they're sticky. So wherever they're injected, that's where they're going to stay. And we have a strong patent portfolio around our hydrogels. We have over 50 different hydrogel formulations that we've tested, and they fall into 3 different categories. One is degradable. Sometimes the cells need to actually interact. They need to touch the surrounding tissue to have an effect. In that case, we want a slow release version that over weeks or months even can slowly degrade and release the cells into that target area. Sometimes what we really want is what the cells are secreting, maybe insulin or a growth factor. In that case, we want the cells to stay in the encapsulant and their secretions to diffuse out. In that case, we'd want a durable encapsulant. And then our third bucket is for lubricants or fillers. It's our microbeads, but without cells in them. And they will last longer than what's currently on the market. So what is so unique about Likarda? We can use any hydrogel, and here I show a hydrogel in a liquid form, and we just mix it with the cells of interest. So we have that combination. We run it through a droplet generator. This is a machine that makes the microbeads. But here's the problem for everybody else. If you start with these biocompatible hydrogels, they don't harden. They don't make the little microscopic beads that we need. So Likarda's core shell spherification is our platform technology that allows these biocompatible hydrogels to cross-link and form the hardened bead. We rinse it a couple times, and then we have a version that we can either ship out with live cells. So within 24 hours, it needs to be injected into the patient. Or, as I said, our hydrogels actually allow us to freeze the cells and thaw them and maintain a high viability. We have a strong patent portfolio. The blue boxes indicate the patents around our hydrogels, and we are submitting more all the time. The red indicate other patents we have issued around other parts of the stem cell therapy manufacturing process. In this case, our CC microplates. And then the green boxes indicate specific patents that we have issued for application of our technology, in this case, mostly diabetes. But we also have a lot of trade secrets and know-how that we choose not to patent because we don't want it in the public domain. Our earliest date on our hydrogel patent is 2035, so we have a long runway. So I'm going to give you a couple examples now of a degradable and then a durable hydrogel. In this case, we have targeted osteoarthritis for the degradable version. You may know somebody with a knee osteoarthritis and they had stem cells injected into their knee. For some people, it's a miracle. It works instantly and they don't have to have knee replacement. For other people, it has no effect at all. And research indicates that the difference is likely the injection of the cells. We may inject 8 million cells into a joint, but as soon as that person stands up and weight bears on that knee, most of those cells leave the knee, they squirt out, and then they're destroyed by the immune system. Here we have 3 rat knees. So the empty space here is this is the femur, is the large bone sticking down, and the other bone that's kind of V-shaped is the tibia and the space in between the bones. In the control on the bottom, you see a very rugged or ragged edge to the bone. The red stain is cartilage. There's very little cartilage there. That was a rat that got no treatment at all. It's just an osteoarthritic knee. In some rats, we injected stem cells alone, and that improved the integrity of the joint, but you can see it's still ragged. And there is some more cartilage there, but not much. Certainly not a healthy joint. This is still a painful joint. But when we took those same stem cells at the same dose and put them in our encapsulant called viscocells and put those in the knee, now those stem cells are released slowly over weeks, over a 6-week period in this case. And you can see now the smooth joint with all the cartilage there. And we can put numbers to that improvement, as you see in the graph, less cartilage degeneration, less proteoglycan loss with our viscocells compared to just stem cells alone. Now let's look at an example for durable hydrogels. In this case, we have 2 diabetic dogs. On the left, this dog was owned by a very diligent, caring family who every 12 hours gave their pet his injection of insulin. We're looking at his blood glucose level, and we would want it to be in the green box. But you can see, even with this very careful care, most of the time, this animal is hyperglycemic and in fact, very high blood glucose levels. On the right is a diabetic dog. On the first few days that I'm showing in the graph here, he also was very hyperglycemic, even though he was receiving up to 17 units of insulin a day. We gave him a low-dose transplant as part of a safety study, and you can see that almost immediately after the yellow bar, his glucose levels came down to within normal range. At this point, he was getting 1 unit of insulin every few days. We gave him his second transplant 3 weeks later and stopped all insulin injections. And 10 days later, he was within normal range for blood glucose and never received another insulin injection again. So let's look at the pipeline that we have. On the left, I have products that we are working on right now in development. I just showed you the dog diabetes product. We also are working on osteoarthritis for horses, and we have partnered with an equine stem cell company, and also for dogs. We have partnered with a human liver cell company. Again, they have the cells, we have the encapsulant, going after chronic and acute liver disease. We are working on an osteoarthritis with an osteoarthritis therapeutic company for humans, and then also our visco supplement. In the middle, we have our products that we're now working on proof of concept, or we've given proposals to companies to partner with us. One is a large animal health company that is right now acquiring several stem cell therapies and looking to us to be the encapsulant, their delivery system. Another is a human company working in diabetes that has a large device, a macro device, but they need our small beads to fit inside it. And so we're doing some proof of concept work for them right now. Another company has cardiomyocytes that they're targeting for heart failure. And a final company has cells that secrete blood clotting factors that would be in a durable hydrogel. And then on the right, I have several other applications, but really the types of diseases that this could be used for is endless. And most cell therapies are going to need that delivery system. This image just gives you a little idea of where we are on these projects that we're working on. The canine diabetes project, we will be in our efficacy studies in the next month or two. Equine osteoarthritis will be in healthy horses in a safety study this summer. Canine osteoarthritis is behind that, still in rodent studies, and so is our visco supplement. And we're in early phase development with the liver cells and the macro device for diabetes. Here's a little summary of our competitors. And as I've mentioned before, but I think it's important to repeat, we're the only company that can customize the hydrogel to match the needs of the cell therapy. All of these other companies, their IP, their patent portfolio is all around modifying alginate to make it less immunoresponsive or cellulose in some way. We're the only company with a degradable version. And while we're not in clinical trials yet, human clinical trials, I will tell you that the companies that have using alginate have failed. Most importantly, I think, or very importantly, we're the only company that's not publicly traded. So for investors who are interested in getting in early, we're about the only option left. Here is a survey of the latest acquisitions in Cdmo'S, but only for cell therapy companies. So you can see there's a lot of them and some big numbers associated with them. We estimate multiples of 10 to 20x revenue when we're ready to be acquired. And now a little bit about our corporate overview. I don't have time to go into all of the wonderful people on our executive team, our leadership team, but you can see from the logos that they've been in pharmaceutical companies for a long time, and especially some of them in cell therapy companies. We have a 3-phase growth plan. We started working on the technology platform, completing proof of concept, developing small scale POC manufacturing, making sure that our patent portfolio was sound. That was all in phase 1, and we've completed phase 1. We're now in phase 2, where we are developing candidates for clients and partners, and collecting fees for that R&D that we're doing for our clients. We're expanding our technological portfolio. and we're producing early preclinical phase material. We are seeking investment in Series B, which would allow us to then build out future commercial manufacturing, either in-house or with a partnered CMO, expand our sales, and in fact, marketing has really just been word of mouth. With Series B, we will actually build out a marketing group here. And then we'll complete our canine clinical trial, efficacy trial, and submit our FDA final regulatory package. We expect to out-license that product. In phase 3, we will not only be collecting fees for R&D for the development of the hydrogels for each client, but also in manufacturing. We'll be collecting royalties and as products go to market, milestones as well. We'll expand sales and marketing and develop commercial GMP level manufacturing capabilities to produce clinical grade material. So in summary, there is a great need for a cell delivery system. We think we have a superior option. The opportunity in cell therapy manufacturing is great. We have a strongly protected patented platform technology, and we've established traction with partnering companies. I'd be happy to provide any further information at your request. Thank you for listening.